So with us today, we have Les Eckert. She's the culinary director at Great Lakes Culinary Institute for Northwestern Michigan College. Les is a certified American Culinary Federation, is certified by the American Culinary Federation. Sorry, Les.
It's all right.
She's also a certified executive pastry chef, a certified culinary educator, and a member of the American Academy of Chefs. Les has been in the hospitality industry for over 25 years, working in restaurants, hotels, and being a business owner in higher education for almost 15 years. For 15 years, she's been an instructor and program director and creator here at, she's now at NMC. So Les, take it away, my dear.
All right. Thank you for that. It's always a mouthful.
It's
always challenging.
When I think about all of the education you have, I just think I never want to have a cook-off with Les Eckert because I might just be underwater the whole time.
No. So yes, that is me, less, because less is more or less. That's my tagline. I absolutely love it here. I moved to Michigan almost 2 years ago, specifically for the Culinary Institute. I saw that it really had a great name, great following in the area, and the programs looked very vivid, and they were also accredited programs, which is a big deal in the culinary world. That means they have high standards. So when they had an opening for the director position, I took a leap of faith and said, this Floridian is moving to Michigan. That was scary, but here I am. And I absolutely love it. And I'm pretty excited because we have some great programming now, which is focused on culinary arts, pastry arts, as well as culinary sales and marketing. And we are hoping to kind of delve into some form of food sustainability, food health, culinary medicine over the next few years. So we're in the pre-planning stages, but very excited to kind of keep our programming sustainable and of interest to our ever-changing industry and region, how we source our food, everything from soil health to that relationship with the farmer. I'm always amazed at how the students we have now, while all of them want to cook, there's a lot of them that don't want to just cook behind the line. Like they really want to know about what's happening with the food, where is it being sourced? If we're buying these carrots and we peel them and we make a dish with the carrots and then we make a dish with the peels, that we end up maybe buying less carrots. So what does that do to the farmer? Like they're really thinking at that level of how we source our food, what are we doing with it, and how does what we do affect the farmer and vice versa. So it's exciting. So we are definitely on the edge of something quite interesting. So stay tuned. But today's seminar, as Brenda said, this is the third in our series. The first one was more of an introduction of why hire a culinary student. The second session was on becoming an internship partner with us, and what does that mean, and what's the difference between just a regular, I'm going to hire a culinary student to do some work versus actually having an internship program at your property and what's involved. And so today I wanted to discuss with you, what are the advantages of hiring that intern that you had at your property post-graduation? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and talk through some slides. So anyone who might not have video, I will try to be very descriptive. And I think everyone should be able to see that. You see like a title screen?
We see it, Les.
Great. So yeah, internship advantages after graduation. I think it's pretty easy to start thinking about what would that mean for you as a business owner or a manager. But I wanted to just point a few things out from our perspective. Let's see. There we go. So of course, we've got the plain facts. We know that degrees and diplomas often come with more job opportunities and higher salaries. And in our culinary industry, that's no different. Except for us, our degrees more often than not are working for us a good 10 years or so after we earn them. And that's if we really are a go-getter in the jobs that we take on and the way we handle ourselves on the job. So that we hope that in a 10-year time span, you're ready to move into a management position that would have you really rely on the fact that you've earned that degree. It's believed that formal culinary training combined with real-world experience prepares the student for gainful post-graduation employment. While I know that we can hire someone without culinary training to take a position in your company or in your kitchen, if you get someone with some culinary background, while they still need training, at least there's less training that you need to give to them. 70% of employers require kitchen management to have a culinary or pastry degree or certificate. So there's that reasoning behind working very hard those first 5 to 10 years to position yourself in a leadership role. And then likewise, many Fortune 500 companies retain over 80% of their interns as entry-level hires after graduation. And that's a really big number. And so sure, Fortune 500 companies may not always represent the average restaurants or food service establishments in our small region, but we make up our region. So I think it's important to not only want that student as an internship or as an intern, but to have a working relationship with them and see what the potential is to continue their employment after graduation. So, how businesses benefit from internship programs. So your company will benefit from an internship program if it has made a priority, if the program is made a priority by you and your business. So that statement holds true if you're just hiring a culinary student, like I said earlier, to just be an extra pair of hands. Well, that's great. If you actually sit down and create an internship program, so you know exactly what you're going to have the internship doing, the paths that they're going to take throughout your business, the time that you're going to invest in them, so that by the time they finish their internship, you get a chance to see what they're like and vice versa, and it may turn into something more valuable for both of you once they graduate. Internship programs must be structured and provide students with the supervision they need to be successful. Offering internship orientation and training before the actual internship begins will produce better results in the end for both of you. Interns provide an extra set of hands to help accomplish productivity goals and finish projects. And some people don't think about this, some employers don't think about this often, but interns require supervision and must always be given feedback on their work. Sometimes you just say, you know, peel this 50 pounds of shrimp, or we're just going to prep today. And while that definitely is part of an internship, always having that constructive feedback is important because it allows them to hear it from another person other than their culinary instructor, but someone they're literally working for and who's in the industry and has a set standard for quality that they need for their company. Okay, I just want to make sure because that went really fast. I'm noticing that my slides are kind of hopping all over the place. So hold on. Let me get there. So we did that. Sorry about that. So a little bit more on how businesses can benefit from an internship program. Involve interns in work that will help them learn new skills, more about the industry, and provide them a great learning experience. So again, if you have a small business and you really only have 2 or 3 stations that the student can work through while they're earning their 350 hours in their internship, you might want to also think about what are some other key areas in running your business that you're willing to share with someone who may, in many years later, be in a similar position like you. Other benefits are the more resources your company puts towards its internship program, the better the program will be. The better the internship program, the more competitive the program will be. And the more competitive your internship program is, the stronger the applicant pool. So if you notice, those three kind of go together. We have had an internship job fair where we've had a handful of companies that have come in with a full calendar of, you'll be with us for 350 hours. So that could potentially be, who knows, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. And this is how we see you moving through our business. And again, it might be a small property, it might be a very large property. And this is what we anticipate you learning and being exposed to during your time here. So you can tell there's been some planning and thought put into developing an internship program. Those companies usually will list, this is what you should expect to get out of this internship, almost like goals with a list of objectives. We found that internships like that were more attractive than internships that were more of, we're hiring a few people, right? Because of the detail. And you can tell there was a lot of thought put into what they want the intern to do. So something that some employers don't think about is that interns give a fresh perspective. And by the way, I know I'm talking a lot through the slides, but if you have any questions or you want to bring something up, by all means, just jump in. Interns bring opportunity for outside perspectives to business, strategies, and plans. Encourage these perspectives by including interns in brainstorming sessions. Each generation, when compared to the last, brings greater tech savvy and its own social approaches. Include interns in social strategies and seek their feedback. And likewise, it's important, this opportunity allows the intern to share what they've taught themselves about social media and bring it into their internship. And it's interesting because now that we have students who have been working in the industry during COVID, and we are getting ready to roll out our second large community event in a to-go format, these students now are looking at a whole new variety of ways to deliver the same food experience that someone might get if they have to go face to face, which of course we want our customers back in their dining rooms and at our establishments. But now you see these students with a fresh perspective on delivering something that they're learning to create. Likewise, in the last 5 or 10 years with the food truck craze, those students graduating in the last 10 years have now been thinking about, how do I get my food mobile? I can't afford a brick and mortar. How do I get out into the community? So it's those unique, fresh perspectives that are very interesting when it comes to delivering those perspectives with the different generations. Okay. My slides are jumping around. So mentorship opportunities. So internships and internship programs do offer the ability to have mentorship opportunities. Many employees look to mentor people entering into the industry. Internship programs allow current employees to connect to college students and engage in mentorship relationships. Mentorship programs built into internship programs help your company's culture as well as the intern's well-being and continued learning. Internship programs reiterate the importance of strong leaders. So being afforded the opportunity to carefully teach interns how to complete tasks and accomplish goals provides personal motivation for your employees. This act of teaching or mentoring internships specifically engages employees to hold themselves to a higher account and act as strong leaders. So encouraging your employees to guide and educate interns can also build strong morale and multiply effective leadership within your company. And that is really the whole idea behind the benefits of having a really well thought out internship program. And while I know I read right off of the slides, there's so much more I could add to that, but we have a small window of time and I wanted to be able to have some open discussion with you all. But it is really important that when you have made the decision to invite an intern onto your property, think about what that internship means to you, as well as just thinking about how do I now make sure I have extra work for them? Like, well, what do you want to get out of it? And what do you want them to get out of it? And likewise, if they're really that good and you've put that much training into that relationship, the possibility of hiring them after graduation grows exponentially when you see that that was a great working relationship. There are some corporations that will actually write contracts with students that state, by working in this internship, if we see that you have met our expectations and vice versa, we'd like to sign an employment contract with you that would start once you graduate. So that's also an opportunity for you all to look at ways to grow your staff.
And Les, we have also Catherine on our webinar today. Just for all of you, I'll go ahead and introduce Catherine with NMC as well. She's going to dovetail on this programming that NMC has and share information about grants and scholarships that are likely available to some of your team members. But I won't go too far into that. I'll leave that for Catherine's area of expertise. But Catherine's the Director of Admissions at NMC. She has over 30 years of admissions and enrollment management experience in higher education. As a national presenter, she's been able to present for SEM enrollment management. Oh my gosh, here we go with acronym soup. If anybody asks Catherine, you'll have to share. So sure. Also NACAC, MACAC, AACRAO. She's also presented for NCCSSA. She's a contributing author for AACARO's Basic Guide to Enrollment Management and SEM Anthology. I might just challenge you to tell us what all of these acronyms are for. Everyone give a warm welcome to Catherine.
Hello.
Hi, Catherine.
All of those are national and state organizations having to do with enrollment management. SEM is strategic enrollment management, AACRO, AACRAO is the American Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers. We have a state agency or a state association, which is MACRO, Michigan. And so there's a lot of state organizations, very well connected. It's a small group of individuals for 28 community colleges, directors that get together that are known, and we share practices and things like that. So all of those, since I've been doing admissions for over 30 years, well versed in all of that, speak. So I wanted to talk to a little bit to everyone today about the state of Michigan and where we are at with funding in some programs. Very, very exciting for our adult learning population. In February, the governor announced Michigan Reconnect, which is a tuition-free program for students that are 25 years of age or older. They can go to any of the 28 community college and get up to full tuition free for an associate's degree. And we'll kind of go through what that kind of means, what that kind of looks like for each and every student going on through. So the Reconnect is available for all students who live in Michigan 25 years and older. And it's available to students who have not received any type of degree yet. So if you have an associate's degree or you have a bachelor's degree, you would not be eligible. Although I always say to apply because NMC has a very large scholarship program that we would probably be able to help you with your educational costs that way as well. To be eligible for the program, again, you have to be at least 25 years of age, be a Michigan resident, have graduated from high school, and you have to pick an academic major. So you just can't say, I want to be undeclared or I'm not sure. You actually have to have an academic major. There are 80 different majors that the college has that we can help you get to where you need to go to based upon those. You can't have earned the associate's degree or bachelor's degree. And here's something that's super exciting. You can be in default with your student loans and you will still get the scholarship, which is a saving grace for a lot of students who maybe walked away from school and had a debt and they are in default with those student loans. They are eligible for this program and can receive up to full tuition. Michigan Reconnect and NMC, so you can start taking classes. This program actually starts this summer for us. And so students can start taking classes within this. You have to take at least 6 credits each semester to stay eligible for the program. And we always have you do credits that will transfer onto a 4-year institution if that's what you're looking at, so we can help you with there. We will also take transfer credit back to NMC as well. If you, let's say you started out in NMC, went to Michigan State, didn't finish, and you want to transfer back those credits, you can do that. We will try and get you as close to a degree as we can and let you know what other classes you need. So some students will only come to us for a couple credits to receive an NMC degree. And my daughter actually did that. She went to NMC. Her first couple of years transferred to Kendall College of Art and Design. When she was finished there, she transferred back credits. So she actually got an associate's degree from NMC and a bachelor's degree from Ferris State, which is Kendall College of Art and Design as well. So we are able to do that with students, which is very helpful. Our summer semesters, just to keep some things in line, our summer semester begins May 8th and the fall semester starts the 28th of August. So as you're talking to your employees or you're looking at your family, these are kind of some dates to keep out there and keep in mind about when to attend. So 3 steps to getting started in this. Since it is a state scholarship, you do need to apply right to the state of Michigan for that. We have the link to that right out on our website, and you can just Google Michigan Reconnect. You're going to find the scholarship. You will need to apply to NMC. We currently have, I think, about 78 current students that are already with us that will get this scholarship starting this semester. The other thing is you need to do is to complete the FAFSA. You don't have to be eligible through the FAFSA, but you do have to complete it. These are all kind of all the steps that you need to take for the Michigan Reconnect Scholarship. We just talked about what you need to do. There's a account that you create. If you were a Future for Frontliner student, it is the same account that you would go into. By the way, as we talk about Future for Frontliners, which is another scholarship program that the state is doing right now, you cannot get both. So you can either get Future for Frontliners or Michigan Reconnect. You can't get both, okay? Some of the things you'll need to do with NMC is obviously to submit that application. We do need high school transcripts and test scores, and you will need to do some type of placement if you don't already have those taken care of. The FAFSA is out there, it's available now. Many students who have been out of school for a couple of years don't realize the changes to FAFSA. It is actually an easier process than it was in the past. It goes on prior year tax information. So for this year, it would go to 2019. And then it actually, part of the FAFSA uploads right to the IRS for your tax documents to come right into it. So you don't have to fill out a majority of it on the backside of that process. So that's a nice feature that they've added in on that. So what does it actually cover? This is what students want to know, what it's actually going to cover. It depends on what type of student you are. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about students who live within Grand Traverse County have a different rate that they will get than students who live out of county or out of district, we call it. So if you live in district, you will get your full tuition paid for with the Michigan Reconnect Scholarship. Additional things that they don't pay for are online and course mat fees, but otherwise you will have your tuition paid for. Students who live out of district pay a different tuition rate. In-district students, it's $109 a credit hour or contact hour. It's $227 if you're living out of district. And you may say, what's the difference? Grand Traverse County residents will tell you that they pay a tax, which is why their rate is much cheaper than out-of-district students who do not. So that is why the scholarship will still pay, but it will only pay for in-district tuition costs. So that student would have to make up the difference between that or take out additional loans or apply for additional scholarships. But that's still a huge chunk of change off from going back to school. Institutional fees per semester that we have that it does pay for is the per contact hours. It's all of our general course fees that we have, and it does pay for that. One thing I will remind you guys what happened is last year, our board of trustees did a great thing in recognizing the pandemic. They recognized that we wanted students to come and we didn't want to put the additional burden of raising our tuition rates. And we did not raise our tuition rates last year. So the same is true for summer semester. Typically our board meets in July and will set tuition for the up year coming. I don't have any information on if we are going to increase rates this year. I haven't gotten that information yet, but typically I would say, I'm not even going to guess because we're still in this pandemic. So I will let that go on what the board does this next year. The one thing that the plan does not cover, it does not cover books and supplies, your technology, transportation costs, or childcare. I do want to talk about your books though. NMC has done a fantastic job of keeping the prices down for books and supplies. I think when we were back in school, it would be nothing to spend $800 to $1,000 on books. That is not the case anymore. And I can attest this with my own daughter who went through the program. She maybe paid $100 to $115 a semester. A lot of our courses are open source, which means they have transitioned to getting information from the internet for those courses, which is more timely than the print books that we may supply, or they have it's an online version that they're utilizing. So costs for books and supplies have gone way down from when we were in school. Our technology keeps advancing. A lot of people don't know that if you don't have technology, NMC can help you out. Our students are able to check out Chromebooks, hotspots, if they are in places where they can't get a wireless. So there's a lot of different things that we help out with our students, with our technology. Of course, even during COVID, you can come into some buildings on campus and utilize the technology there. And so we're hoping with that. We also have our childcare on campus as well. So those are just some things basically in the background that are helping our students kind of fund their way. For that adult student who wants to go back and they live in district, they can look at total tuition taken care of for the program. So I'm going to end it with any questions that anyone has regarding this scholarship program and how it works.
Thank you, Catherine. You're welcome to type in the chat if you have a question for Catherine, or take yourself off mute. Or if you have questions for Les regarding the internship programs that are available through Great Lakes Culinary Institute.
Question. So we're looking for interns for this upcoming or summer for the Cherry Republic public house and everything. And we've tried going to a couple of career fairs, and it just seems like I don't know, it's hard to gain the students' attention when there's so many employers looking for students and everything like that, but yet there are minimal students signing up for virtual career fairs and such. What do you think would be the best way to get their attention and to start initiating the interview process and getting people more interested into, you know, interning with us at Cherry or other organizations?
Sure. We would typically have an internship job fair. So thank you to COVID, with that kind of got pushed to the side. So normally we would have an invitation out to you in January for a February internship job fair. Now for this time of year, students are already looking for their internship for the summer. While they can work an internship any semester, obviously summer is the big time they gravitate to, because their class load is much lighter, and restaurants are entertaining a lot more customers. So you can connect with me, or you can connect with Patty Krohn-Hutta, who is our internship coordinator. And we can do a couple of things. For properties that really want to pull in more than just one or two students, and they have a fairly large internship experience or many areas that the students can actually train in, we will invite you to come to the school if you are comfortable doing that. And we actually will give you some time and some classes to talk about your property and what's available at your property. And then we start getting the interest of the students. And then we'll ask you to drop off any type of print material that could be handed out to the students. And so again, we'll even do that for small food service establishments where you're just looking for one person. So that's really what we're doing right now due to COVID and not being able to have an actual internship job fair, which we would have here in the dining room.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
Okay.
You know, Leah, just to piggyback on what Les said, we have tried a number of different ways to connect with students. I can tell you that students are Zoomed out. And so we tried a college night. We didn't get a great response, and it was all on Zoom or different links that we did. We have done chats, emails, phone calls. The number one thing that students are responding to, I kid you not, a sheet to fill out on our webpage that says, I need more information, contact information. They'll fill that out. I don't know why, but they do. It's our number one thing. That's how we're getting a hold of them or getting them to engage with us.
So if I were to like email, what is it, the handbook or a piece of information about our culinary program and then a link to the pre-application, would you be able to send that out for students to fill out and get back to us about?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I will do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm interested in finding out, the difference between obviously the catering industry or the catering business and the restaurant business. It's my impression that maybe only a very small percentage of the culinary students, or just a small percentage of the people who are in the culinary arts or chefs or sous chefs, have a real keen interest in being caterers. And it sort of differentiates me and my company from the bulk of the other employers, because it's so much, the job description itself is so similar, but then also so different. I'm just wondering how to differentiate myself from the rest of the pack, in that I'm a caterer, I'm not a restaurateur. And then finally, how do you siphon through those few students that may have an interest in catering over those students who more than likely probably want to be restaurateurs or chefs in a restaurant itself?
I like your question. So it's interesting because I actually am now hearing with this current student body that there's fewer students who really want to work in a restaurant versus other outlets for food, like catering. They're thinking about working on the water, on the ships. I've got a handful of students that want to work on a farm and then be able to cook farm to table dinners. And essentially that's a mini catering job right there. So I truly believe that we can position your focus to the students in that way, that it isn't a restaurant experience, but it's still a food experience. And it's a unique experience because you can be dealing with something that might be for 20 people or 200 people. So the idea of large quantity food that still looks beautiful, and it could be a combination of appetizers or canapes to more comfort food to a wedding cake. Like, the opportunities are so varied with catering versus in a restaurant. So yes, two completely different experiences, but I know there's an audience for that among our students. So we can definitely work that angle for you.
Okay, that's great. Maybe what I'll do is reach back out to Patty and you, Les, and maybe I'll just send you guys an email and just see if we can, kind of approach it at a different angle so that they do understand, appreciate. I often refer to them as free agents, particularly myself. I mean, you have the opportunity to take on any and all different opportunities, and it really enables you to A, be creative, and B, just, takes the boredom out of the job, in that everything is always unique and different, seems like.
Yes.
But then everything has its challenges as well. Obviously there's a lot of unforeseen obstacles that may arise throughout the course of a given day. And so you really got to be on your toes. And I've always, argued that some of the better chefs are those who actually are culinary or catering chefs, just because they can't always solely focus in on the food preparation in itself, but they also have to have a broad view of what's occurring externally, weather-wise or employee-wise or whatever, equipment-wise. And it's exciting, but I've found myself being challenged trying to compete with restaurants. I think a lot of people envision themselves in restaurants. And the other thing too is that I don't necessarily can't offer the 5 and 6 days worth of employment that, you know, a lot of restaurants do. And I also think that that's an advantage for me too, is that, you know, sometimes you can, at least as an owner of a catering company, you can earn as much money in a 3 or 4 day week as a lot of restaurants might have to earn in a 6 or 7 day week. So you don't necessarily have to tax. You can have maybe have a little bit of a life too, as a caterer, possibly, you know. So,
and I think our out of the box internships are very important because, like I said, not everyone here in our program wants to cook in a restaurant, but they want to do something with food. So the fact that we can offer internships on the state of Michigan training vessel, that we can offer something at Cherry Republic or at Crystal Mountain or even at Black Star Farm, where it's not just in a restaurant. There's all these different aspects of it that create our food industry, that it really offers them the variety that they're looking for. So I think you've got a great angle. And I owned a pastry catering company for 12 years. So I understand where you're coming from. And yeah, a caterer has to think on their feet very fast.
Yeah, well, is
All the time.
Michael Scarpinsky still a pastry chef? Is he still doing that all summer long or not?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that guy he was a maniac. You know, I remember seeing him doing 3 and 4 events a day on Saturdays. You know, he put it out there, and he ran some risks. You know, when you do that many events in a particular day, you got to be on time and deliver. And anyhow, it'll be fun to actually, I'd love to have an opportunity to actually meet and talk with a few people about the dynamics of catering, because it really is I mean, the food service industry is dynamic in itself. Add just a couple more dimensions to catering that you don't have in a controlled environment, like a kitchen that's adjacent to a dining room.
Yes. And the other unique thing is that our first semester students, they typically won't take their internship until they've completed 2 semesters. So we try to also bring in employers to speak with the students in that first semester to get them to think about the different opportunities there are out there other than restaurants. While there's nothing wrong with working and cooking in a restaurant, but we kind of want to open their mind, because in first semester, a lot of them are there because I like to eat or I like to cook. Well, we need to change that mindset, because going into the industry is very hard work. So we want to make sure you have the whole picture, all the different areas that you can be in.
Mm-hmm.
And we have students that have gone through the program because they want to be a food writer.
Well,
and what better way to understand it than to actually go through it so you can understand why you're eating the dish you're eating.
yeah, exactly.
So
Agreed. Cool. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions for Catherine or Les? Well, I guess this is where we all say goodbye. Thank you, Les and Catherine, for sharing your information today. I did put, I should have put Catherine's information in our Slack messages here, our chat channel here. You just get Catherine's email in there just in case you need that. And I did share Patty's information as well in that space.
Great.
Yeah, right after you put your email in, Les.
Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone joining us today. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.